Guys.
Well, welcome to our show, and I'm pleased to have an old friend. We worked together many years ago on Capitol Hill, and our paths keep crossing again and again.
I'm
So,
sorry for that.
yes, well, yes, well, we keep having some of the same problems, right? Because the guys like Joe Biden just keep at it. And I'm joined with Jason Trott, who is from Anne Arundel County. Dave, you had a piece today in the Washington Times about Biden's first 100 days. What was your take?
I think I would give him a failing grade in his first 100 days. As far as your average American is concerned, you know, there's plenty of leftists out there that are celebrating the destruction of America, which is what Joe Biden and his administration simply put, that's their agenda. Their agenda is, it seems to be, to fundamentally change America. And so, if you remember back in the campaign, Joe Biden said, I think, and the quote went something like, "Do I look like a radical socialist to you?" And now, many months later, into his presidency, the answer is clearly yes. You look at what he is doing day in and day out. It's really remarkable. And you don't have to take my word for it. It's when AOC says that she is glad, and happy with Biden's performance over the first 100 days. That should scare us to death. Okay, so look, you know, and she, by the way, she said he exceeded progressives' expectations. That tells you that this garbage that was unity, that was we elect me and I will bring America together. Elect me and I'll be Uncle Joe. I'm going to be that warm blanket that comforts America. Those folks that voted for him because of a few mean tweets are now ruining the day. They are fundamentally changing this country. They are absolutely destroying our fabric, the very way of life that we've known. And so, Biden's just quite simply a puppet. He's a puppet of the radical left. He has been bought and paid for because he owes them the nomination. He knows that they could have continued to come at him and maybe beaten him. But he was lucky. And my biggest pet peeve is if he had won the election in a landslide, if he had won the election and carried the Senate by big numbers and the House by big numbers, it would be one argument. You could make an argument that they won and votes matter and elections have consequences. But the Senate is literally 50-50. The House is a 4-vote majority for the Democrats, the smallest margin in over 100 years.
Right.
And Joe Biden is president because of 42,000 votes in 3 states. When there was 160 million votes cast, the difference was 42,000 votes in 3 states. That's not a mandate, folks. That is not a mandate for much of anything, let alone this radical left-wing socialist agenda that they are perpetrating on the American people. And it's a fraud what they're doing and why they're doing it. Joe Biden, just in the last, couple of months, let's say the last 2 months, has proposed a COVID bill that would spend I believe it ended up being about $1.9 trillion. 1.9 trillion. Okay. I don't know a lot about basic math, but 28 trillion plus 2 trillion is going to put our national debt at $30 trillion. I'm not an economist. Well, I do play one on TV sometimes, but I am not an economist. But I can tell you that Greece, which had an unbelievable economy 5 years ago, had a tipping point based on their debt, and they collapsed. Their government collapsed, their economy collapsed. The countries around the world came together to bail Greece out. Who was the number one country? Us. If we collapse economically, who's going to bail us out? Our adversaries, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea? Pick someone, because the other countries around the world don't have the economies to be able to help us and bail us out. We are the biggest economy in the world. So he proposes 1.9 trillion for COVID relief, and actual COVID relief was only 10% of that spend. Then we have infrastructure. I think it's coming in at before they add all the earmarks, before they add all the goodies that they're going to have to get some of these votes on infrastructure. It's about $1.6 trillion. And what they said was, don't worry, we're going to pay for it by taxing the rich. And they proposed a bunch, unknown really in the detail because we haven't seen it yet, but a lot of tax increases. But those tax increases only amounted to about 250 or 300 billion dollars in new taxes. And those taxes are being taken directly from wealthy people who are the job creators in this world. They are going to take them from corporations instead of building new plants and facilities and hiring new people coming out of COVID. They're going to tax these folks. So it's going to harm the economy on one end and only provide about a 10 or 20% of the infrastructure bill offset. And then you have today this garbage of, I don't even know what to call it. I mean, it's a socialism, a socialist dream, a utopia. It's free everything. It's free college. It's free K through 12. It's free childcare. It's literally just a mishmash of goodies, of things to pit the haves versus the have-nots, to practice more divisive politics instead of this unity that Joe Biden loves to talk about. So look, I don't know. I'm happy to just go on, but maybe you guys would like to have some questions. Love to do that.
It seems one of the things we're kind of seeing is this recurring shell game that he's got of calling it infrastructure, and infrastructure is not really what it's about. And some of these other tax increases are intended to get the economy going again, but are really punitive in nature. 40% capital gains tax, over 100% increase.
Hey, Mark, if I could just real quickly,
sure.
on the capital gains tax. They're talking about maybe a 44% capital gains tax. Some states, and there's several, but like Washington State, they have a 20% tax on top of whatever the federal tax is. So if you live in Washington State, okay, and I know nobody on here does, but think about it. This happens around the country. You're going to pay 44% to the federal government, and then you're going to pay another 20% to the state.
Right.
This is pure insanity. If we have an economy that is choking, right? It wants to get started again. It wants to get going again. And we're seeing signs of life. But you can't smother the economy by taxing it and taxing it right at a crucial time when you want corporations to bring back employees onto the floors of their factories and plants. You want them to hire new people. You want them to restart construction on projects that were canceled or delayed a year ago. It's the opposite. It's literally the opposite of what you should be doing. And to be quite honest, it's just no surprise, Mark, that this is where they're taking us.
Well, this is what we warned about. I guess this is really, I'm hoping that a lot of people have a little buyer's remorse. Do we see any signs of that?
Well, yeah, I think that's really what I was talking about when I said folks who voted for Joe Biden because they didn't like a mean tweet. Okay. that was it. Oh, President Trump is, with the tweets, and I don't like the tweets. How do you like this policy agenda of this socialist sitting in the White House? What do you think? You want to have 40 or 44% capital gains tax? You want to have your income tax increase? You want to have your small business taxes increase? That's where this is going to go. It's going to be a tax on all people. And oh, by the way, inflation, which is an artificial tax that we all know, and it's insidious. But if we just look at the gas pump here in Montgomery County, right, which we have a socialist running Montgomery County, which is just unbelievable to me that these people have not been run out of town on a rail. They've destroyed this country. They've destroyed this state. They've destroyed this county. The left in this country. So you look at the gas pump, you look at what you're paying. You look at the prices of groceries, you see what you're paying. You see what the price of utilities, fuel, to heat your home, cool your home, the electricity bill, everything is going up except for your salary. And you're lucky to have a job after COVID, coming out of COVID. And there's so many people who don't. But that's really, it's really the shame of it all.
What are the other things we have coming down the pike are the policy changes that are going to come as a result of the climate change initiatives, which
global warming, it was called global warming at one point. But once people figured out, oh, wait a minute, that's not accurate. We have to change the terminology to continue the farce. But I'm sorry.
But absolutely. And we've already seen how in the United States, the CO2 has dropped as we've transitioned more into natural gas. And what they want to do is cut it to such a dramatic degree that you really would end up having, forgive me, a command and control economy where we've got a national 5-year plan on energy policy.
Yeah. So look, what Joe Biden did was come in and say he wants to create jobs, but he cancels building the wall. He says he wants to create jobs and he cancels the Keystone Pipeline. He is destroying the fracking industry. When Donald Trump came in, we were in trouble as a country as it related to our energy production, our energy supply. We have done such an amazing job over the last 4 years prior to Biden to become energy sufficient and an exporter of energy across the globe and a revenue producer for this country. And now Joe Biden single-handedly with these draconian policies of putting coal miners out of work, destroying the fracking industry, and destroying the Keystone pipelines and other opportunities that were out there and waiting to get started, whether it's in the Alaska, oil fields or elsewhere offshore. The Biden administration has come in and just destroyed it. And in a very short period of time, we've gone from being energy independent to being now, once again, dependent on the Middle East. It's kind of why Donald Trump got elected in the first place. These guys have forgotten the American people are tired of these types of policies. They're tired. They were tired for 40 years. And that's one of the reasons policies just like these are the reasons that that the American people ended up electing Donald Trump. So I just think that that they continue down this road, they're going to give Donald Trump, or if he doesn't run, someone else, an opportunity, a lane to really be able to run a very strong campaign. I, for one, don't think Joe Biden's running again in 3+ years, but that's just me.
So tell us
Dave,
a little bit.
Go
ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
thanks,
Sorry.
Mark. Hey, Dave, you touched on for a second about Biden canceling the border wall. Can you kind of circle back on that and try to let us know
Yeah.
what's how Joe Biden's handled that in the past 100 days?
Yeah. Thanks for that softball. I appreciate it. Look, I think we all know that Joe Biden has utterly, completely, totally. The word mishandle is not even accurate. He is so incompetent on one hand and purposeful on the other. He's doing these things because he wants these folks illegally to be able to enter the country. They don't want it to be illegal to enter the country without standing in line and doing it the right way. They want to eliminate that. And that's I talk to people all the time. I travel all the time. And for 4 years, I traveled with the president. And I would see firsthand people coming up to him, immigrants, legal immigrants, saying, I did it the right way. And it's offensive to me as somebody who immigrated from Mexico or Central America, South America, Europe, anywhere around the globe. And I saw it firsthand. They would come up to him and say, it's offensive to me that these folks think that they should be able to just come into this country and do whatever it is they want and get the same rights as me when I did it the right way,
Right.
Spent those years in line. And now we're seeing the wall stopped, but basically the bat signal put up at the border to say, come on down, right? This is an administration that is created. And I say it's incompetency. They are incompetent on a lot of things, but it's purposeful. Their policy is that they want, as part of their administration, to call in all of these folks because, President Trump was so bad, so evil. He didn't let any of you in. And now the kind-hearted Joe Biden, are going to let you all in. And what do we see? We see children in cages, which was a devastatingly bad thing when Donald Trump did it. We see family separation, which was a unbelievably bad thing when President Trump did it. We see them living in a setting that really, even pre-COVID, was unhealthy. And with COVID is not only unhealthy, it's absolutely irresponsible to keep this many people in this close of quarters. And they're trying to deal with it. But the problem is when you put out that clarion call to say, come to America, you will get in and get all the freebies, free healthcare, housing, food. We're going to pay you to come. Guess what? People actually listen and they come.
Right.
They take you up on the opportunity that you present. So we see all of these things happening. Then we see them busing them from the border, not back to where they came from, but to our cities and our towns. And we see them busing them without testing them for COVID. So we are during a global pandemic when Joe Biden's telling everybody to wear 2 masks. Okay. And this guy, Dr. Fauci, who's going to go down in history as not such a great doctor, I think. Dr. Fauci's telling everybody you can't do this and you can't do that. And then they're changing the rules every day. And then we got the CDC changing guidelines all the time. It's because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay. And that's just part of it. They did. I have a joke. I say that's why they call it practicing medicine, because they really don't know what they're doing. So they're practicing at it until they get it right. And I'm not so sure Dr. Fauci isn't still practicing. But this is a devastating thing that they've done to our country, to our children, to my children who live here in Montgomery County, and haven't been able to be in school in a year. I'm offended by that. But as a dad, as a parent, as a taxpayer in Montgomery County, the teachers unions, what they've done, quite honestly, irresponsible. They've overplayed their hand. They don't want to go back to work ever, in my opinion. They want to sit home. That way they don't have to really deal with the kids. Okay, let's just be honest. They can do Zooms all day long.
Did we? Jay,
Mark,
I
did
think,
we lose him?
no, I think he's having audio issues.
there. Okay.
Okay. Well, Mark,
He's
what are
not
your
muted
thoughts
on
on
my
this
end.
issue?
So.
My thoughts are, I want to go back to the way things were a year ago.
He'll come back.
Uh-oh,
There he is. Hey, Dave.
no sound.
That didn't do anything. Well, why don't you guys talk while...
We'll talk a little bit about. See, I was going to ask about Citizens United now. Okay, but we've got
I think a great
on
question
the.
we could ask Dave when he comes back is what he thinks about the potential packing of the Supreme Court and how that affects groups such as Citizens United
Absolutely.
and the American people.
We're calling in. It's sort of aimed at Dave Bossie.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay. This was actually the first days of Zoom was a great experience. People have, I think, have learned since then. So people would have their camera on and the sound would go down and you would see this like animated, frustrated people going crazy. And of course it was all coming across
Can you hear us now,
online.
Dave? Okay, hold on one second. We can't hear you. We got the video.
Yeah, Mark, I don't think this happens on Fox News.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. Of course.
Dave, let me... he's going to try it again. Maybe it's your iPad audio, something with the iPad audio.
What happens to me is it's the charger on this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're going to pack the Supreme Court so they can go after Citizens United. It's actually one of the talking points.
Hold on. Let me see something. Let me give Dave a call.
Big Tech just cut his audio.
Oh.
No, Dan, I don't
That's
think
true.
that's
Okay.
There we
There you
go.
Oh,
So Twitterverse
We're
has
good.
gone crazy, and they're specializing. Dave Bossie being very critical of Dr. Fauci, and the globalists at Big Tech have just cut his audio.
that's funny. That's funny. That is funny. And it may be true, but it's funny.
So I was gonna. Well, we had a question. I'll pass the mic over.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, while we were waiting, I posed the question. We wanted to get your take, Dave, on what you thought about Biden potentially looking at packing the Supreme Court and how that affects groups like Citizens United and just the American people in general.
Well, first of all, I don't think he's ever going to get to the opportunity to do that. We have to hope that Senator Sinema, Senator Manchin, we have to take them at their word that they're not going to vote to get rid of the filibuster. Because if we get rid of the filibuster, lots of bad things will happen, not just packing the court. HR 1, for example, which is an anti-democratic, anti-free speech, anti-First Amendment, incumbent protection bill that permanently tries to put the Democrats in charge of the United States. The filibuster is really the only thing that's saving us from a lot of really bad things. To the courts, Joe Biden, he created a commission. In Washington, D.C., you create a commission if you don't think you're really going to be able to do it. But in this particular instance, I'm wondering if they are going to come back with a report that tells him why he should do it, and really, and I think it'll be based on not only why they should do it, but why they should get rid of the filibuster to do it, and how egregious the filibuster is when it comes to the fairness, social justice, and all of these key words that the left loves to use these days. And I think that's possibly the political angle that they're taking. And if that's the case, we're going to have some fights on our hands. I got to tell you, from a First Amendment standpoint, from a Second Amendment standpoint, well, virtually every one of our freedoms, if they decide to pack the court and fundamentally change America, not just from a public policy standpoint, but a subversion of the Supreme Court, it will be devastating to this country. It continues to, in my opinion, go down the path of socialism that they want. They want to break America. The AOCs of the world, and they're who's running this train right now. And I think they want to break America so that they can get that socialist utopia that they so desperately desire, which is, taking everyone's wealth and that redistribution of it for a government takeover of energy and of commerce, of every aspect of our lives. It shocks me, not necessarily here in Montgomery County or even in Maryland, but it shocks me how many people are okay with being told what to do. I for one, am not. I find it, I kind of find it shocking. They lift the ridiculous outdoor mask mandate, okay? And you're still seeing people walk around outside with masks on by themselves. I laugh when I see somebody driving down a road in a car by themselves and they got a mask on in their own car. It's shocking to me how people can go through life and really just be open to the government being able to dictate to you what you can and cannot do. It shocks me. And so that's where they're headed. And that's why the packing the court issue is so important. And your question's a great one. The problem is we don't know the answers. We don't know what they're willing to do. And I think the commission will give us some tells in the next weeks and months ahead.
Now, one of their talking points is specifically to reverse the Citizens United case that obviously is a name for you guys.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, well, it's named for us because I personally was the plaintiff in the case.
Right.
And I led that case from my concept of the case in 2004 to our victory in 2010. It took me 6 years to win that battle. And of course, the left wants to do that. The one thing they forget is even if they pack the court, you still need a case to come before the Supreme Court to be able to overturn my decision. So they don't have one of those in the pipeline. They can go try to create one, but the Supreme Court historically doesn't take cases that are created specifically to overturn a law they don't like. So even if they pack the court, by the time they pack the court and try to get a case to the Supreme Court, we will have won the presidency back, and we'll pack the court after they get done packing the court. And that's the problem with packing the court. It's why it should never be done, because Joe Biden adds 4 justices or whatever. Who knows how, he gets it to 13. Okay. Well, then, I don't know. President Trump, let's just say, becomes president, and we control the Senate. And all of a sudden, President Trump's putting on another, 5, looking at, the Scalia family, put the entire Scalia family on the Supreme Court. It becomes a joke. and it really is destructive.
Nothing
country.
against his son, though.
What's that?
Nothing against Eugene, his son.
No, the whole family, put them all on.
No, I'm sorry. It's not a criticism that the future Scalia shouldn't be on the Supreme Court. It's just that it shouldn't be done as a result of packing.
Right. I understand your point, but I'm just saying, and I'm being facetious here, is it becomes untenable.
Right.
And it destroys even further. It erodes the credibility of the court. It erodes the American people's confidence in that entire branch of government, the third branch of government, the check and balance that we so desperately deserve and need as a country. I don't agree with everything that Barack Obama did, okay, for 8 years. We fought him in Congress. We tried to stop, derail, slow down his legislative agenda. We were successful in a lot of it. We lost on a lot of it. However, that's the way you're supposed to do it, right? The loyal opposition. It's really what this country was built upon. And we have rules to protect the minority rights in Congress and in the Senate. And they just want to use power to gain more power for power's sake. That's the destructive tendencies that we are seeing here. And that's why I hope they never go down to this court packing thing, because I'm going to be pretty good at it if they do it. We will answer it with our own. And that's the fear that they have to have. And by the way, I didn't get a chance to say this earlier. We're going to win back the House in 18 months. That's a short 18 months. It's a long 18 months when it comes to the destruction he can do through legislative fiat and executive orders. But 18 months is going to come very quickly. And if we win back the House, we shorten his presidency to 2 years. And 2 years it's just, he can't get a lot accomplished that really will have long-term impact. He won't get a lot of federal judges, especially if we take back the Senate. We're going to take back the House. The Senate, the map's a little trickier and it's a little harder, but it has we have a lot of opportunities there.
And so tell me a little bit about what you're doing. We have, of course, the video or the picture of Stop the Biden Agenda. Tell me what Citizens United's doing on that.
Yeah, so Citizens United to Stop the Biden Agenda is a program that we started and launched on January 20th. We launched it at CPAC actually to go live, and it's a one-stop shop. You can go there. We're producing video content of the hottest issues of the day. There's fresh video content every day. There's the news of the day that we aggregate from around the country, the best conservative news that we can find for you. Our people go out and work very hard to put that together. I put up, several op-eds a week. Usually I write for Fox News, not usually. I write for Fox News every week. There'll be one up in the morning. I haven't even written it yet, but I'm doing the response to Joe Biden's speech this evening. So I will be writing that as soon as he's done, and Fox News will have that up in the morning. Today's was the Washington Times, which we discussed earlier, on his 100 days. So I have a Washington Times and a Fox News piece every week. And I also write one for the blog every week here on this website. And so we have all of our FOIAs, our Freedom of Information Act, that we file, and we have dozens and upon dozens of these cases that are open. And then we have to use litigation and litigation strategies in order to get them to give us the material that we request under FOIA, because they just don't want to give it. And so we have, 6 or 8 ongoing cases right this minute that are open in federal court. And we're always fighting in federal court, for more transparency. So you can go there, see the litigation that we're currently in. You can get a glimpse behind the curtain as to what's behind the FOIAs. So it's really a great one-stop shop for folks who want information that they can take to their friends, family, to the local Republican groups and other opportunities that they have and need information. So, we're really proud of this. It's a great product. I hope people will go to it and come back to it often.
Sounds good. It sounds like a great opportunity for activists, because we did see with the Obama administration how people getting together, responding, and certainly the beginning of the Tea Party movement, that
Oh, yes.
grassroots activism had didn't succeed as much as we wanted to, but it also really kind of changed the dynamic of the politics. And so,
well, there's no question. And on there are petition drives on a host of issues that I forgot to mention. So people can go there and sign up on their petitions. Look, this is, to your point, Mark, this is when we were in 2009, going into the 2010 midterms at this point. These are the types of things we were doing, again, to fight Obama. These are the things that we did to try and win back the House and Senate in the midterms, in his first midterms in 2010, which of course was the Tea Party, movement. And these are the types of things that we did back then to try to foster and gain the momentum that's necessary for people, to give them the education, to give them the tools they need to be able to go out and do what you talked about, which is the activism.
and we talked about a couple of things. We talked about the opening the schools, and we talked about the court. What's happening these days? I noticed you have a petition to get a special prosecutor for, I assume, Hunter Biden.
Yes.
What is going
Good
on
assumption.
with that? What is going on with that?
Well, I wish I knew. You see today the disgusting display by the federal government, by the Justice Department, by the FBI, in raiding Rudy Giuliani's home and apartment office, taking electronic devices. This is this again. Anyone who is associated with, close to, supports the president over the last 4 years, and now the former president, is a target. It's not what we're supposed to do. We didn't target the Obama administration. We didn't target the former folks in the Clinton and Obama. We didn't target the former Obama administration for 4 years. These folks want to utterly destroy Donald Trump, his family, his companies, and anyone who stands with him. Look, and I'm not fans of some of these guys. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of Paul Manafort's or Roger Stone for that matter. But what they did to those people, Papadopoulos and these other, what they did to them is politicizing the Justice Department, politicizing the FBI in ways that the American people, we live in America, and I grew up revering the FBI.
Right.
And now, if an FBI agent called me, I'd be like, oh, what are they doing to me, right? And it's really, actually, an FBI agent just called me about a month ago and told me that I had been hacked by a foreign country because of my proximity to the president. So, which was interesting. But when the FBI did call me, I didn't know that was what he was going to say. So I was already trying to figure out what lawyer do I send him to, because that's what they're doing to us. I feel that way because the evidence is out there that they're targeting us, and it's really, my God, it's not what we're supposed to do. We're not a third world country.
So tell me, what do you think will happen with these tax increases? Do you think we can stop them?
We must. I hope that every single person listening to this, I hope that everybody that we can talk to in the days, weeks, and months ahead can figure out a way to make your voice heard, to do whatever it is that is possible, is required to fight these tax increases. They are destructive beyond words. These folks love the the divisive politics of the haves versus the have-nots. That's what they've been living on that for generations, and it's honestly it's a disgusting thing in my opinion. But these folks, they're not going to stop until they have all your money. They don't want some of your money; they want all of it.
You know, it's interesting. We have a model that worked, which was right before COVID under the Trump administration, after the tax cuts that took place in 17, the lowest poverty rate across multiple categories, low unemployment. We really have a standard of set of policies that really worked.
Yeah, I ran a campaign on that, right? That the president was going to be about jobs, jobs, jobs. And when he got into office, he lived up to that promise. Everything he did, every day that he was in the White House, he focused on creating jobs, creating opportunities to create jobs. He wanted to talk to job creators. He wanted to talk to people about how, what does it take? Just tell me what it takes to get you to hire more people. He would have business leaders, hotel, airline, you name it. He would have them into restaurant people. He would have them into the White House so that he could listen to them. He's a business guy. And he listened to other business leaders who are successful and built successful businesses. And because he wanted America to be successful, he donated his salary back every year. He never took a paycheck his whole 4 years as president because he didn't need the money. He has less money today than when he took office. You think about that. Barack Obama had no money when he went in, and he's worth a couple $100 million now. Bill Clinton literally had nothing, and now he and Hillary, are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Donald Trump was worth billions of dollars, and now he's probably lost $1 billion or $2 billion while he was in the White House because of all of these attacks on him and his companies. He was willing to do that because he loves this country and he loves the people of this country so much. He was the president for America and for the American people, not for anyone else. And he said, look, let other foreign leaders be strong leaders for their countries, and then we'll negotiate good deals. But I'm not going to be looking out. I'm not president of the world. I'm president of the United States. And that's one of the reasons that I think the American people love him. The Republican Party loves him. And it's going to be interesting to see if President Trump decides to try and run again, in 2.5, 3 years when it comes time.
Dave, one last question. I see we're running out of time here real quick. I think it's one question that everybody wants to know. What do you think the odds are that President Trump runs again in 2024?
As I sit here today, exactly 100%. Because I just had dinner with him not too long ago at Mar-a-Lago, and what he said to me was interesting. He said, Dave, 3 years for you is not very long. 3 years for me at my age is a long time. But if I'm healthy, physically and mentally, unlike Joe Biden, and he said it just like that. If he says if I'm not drooling on myself like Joe Biden, no, he didn't say that. I'm making that up. Then I think I'll be in a position to be able to run. But his focus in that answer was winning back the House and Senate in 2022. He feels that if we as a party can disrupt the Biden administration, win back the House and Senate, shorten that presidency, but give the American people hope, give the American people an opportunity to see the differences between what socialism looks like and what freedom looks like, and what capitalism looks like. I think that would maybe affect him in his decision. But I will say this: if he doesn't run, unlike the Democrats, who had in my opinion, a very weak group of people, and Joe Biden was a weak person who won the nomination against a bunch of weak people. We don't. We have an incredible bench. We have an unbelievable list of governors, of former governors, of ambassadors, of cabinet officials, of senators. It goes on. The list is literally from Mike Pence to Mike Pompeo to Kristi Noem, governor of South Dakota, to Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, a host of United States senators from Cotton to Cruz, right? Josh Hawley. There's an unbelievable number of really great people, whether you like Marco Rubio or Rick Scott. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's going to be 3 potential presidential candidates out of Florida alone. So we have a really great opportunity. If President Trump runs, it's one thing. If he doesn't run, I only named a handful of folks that I think are really great opportunities for the Republican Party to make their nominee and then go and beat whoever the Democrat nominee is, because I don't know that it'll be Joe Biden.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. We really appreciate it. On behalf of Jason and I and Montgomery County Club, we welcome, and we also, one last plug, we'll put up the link to encourage the Stop the Biden Agenda and get people to take advantage of that resource.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it anytime. Look forward to it again.